I hope you're ready to start the dream catchering. Yeah, it's a word. We're gonna start by wrapping ribbon around my loop. I'm gonna be switching on the camera so that it's top shot so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Predict how long I need. If you run out, you can always join it back on. Don't be worrying about such trivial situations. There's the glossy bit and then the non-glossy bit. I'm gonna go for the glossy bit because I'm just a glossy girl. I'm just gonna put some glue on top here. See what I'm doing with my finger? I'm just stopping it so that it doesn't go anywhere. Get down to about 4 or 5 loops. You're basically okay to go. One of the reasons why we wrap is so that it provides grip when you start looping your string, so it has got something to tie on to. What I like to do with glue, especially if it's going to be this type of craft glue, I like to use it sparingly. In fact, you can use a lot less than what I am using, and use your finger to just spread it across, because what you really need, and actually when this type of glue is exposed to oxygen, it becomes tackier and it's better. Too much glue will also make it too tacky for you to handle. Pull it fairly firmly. I've got my 3 fingers holding at the back. I've got these 2 fingers working to keep it steady, and I got my thumb going across, and this one, while it's going across, it's holding down, so your ribbon's not going to move anywhere. Your finished product. I mean, I stopped several times because I ran out of ribbon. But here you go. You're done. Next up, we're going to be doing the beading. Okay, so first thing is, let's just do a knot. Go underneath it. Go underneath it. And then underneath it again. And once more. Underneath. And then underneath it. Okay, you're gonna go again, same movements, but in between all of the new spaces that you've created. Like, the smaller you are, the longer it'll take to finish. Some people actually measure exact points where they want to do it just to make it easier. Eventually, when you start pulling it, that's when the pattern happens. So I did it rather loosely for you just now so that you can see. So I'm going to start pulling it fairly firmly. So we're going into our 3rd loop. We've just finished this part. It's easy for you to want to do that, but I would recommend you go here, otherwise you're gonna, because that's our 2nd row. So go to your 3rd row is here, but I'm already gonna start putting some ornaments in. This cord is 1 mm, and actually it's a bit thick for my other ornaments, but we'll see what we can do. Okay, I've reached a point where I need to add more string. So how I do it, it really is quite simple. Just create a knot. For the rustic look. I have like this swallow that I want to put. It can hang there somewhere, or down here somewhere. We'll see. As you're working your head, you can start pulling it just because you want some tension, right? know where you started. Just keep that in place while you pull, and you pull only in one direction because everything is connected. As you go through, it's gonna get a little bit more dicier as you go towards the middle. When it comes to getting closer, you need to super pay attention. Because you're gonna start pulling everything tightly together. You don't want to misstep. I actually skipped a couple of loops, and so I had to go back and even take out some beads because I realized it was getting too chunky towards the middle, and you can see that and it's going to start forming a star in the middle. So I'm just gonna finish off with a knot, okay? Mine moved a little bit here, so I just moved it around like so, just so that there's more tension. Well, some people can do it right in the center. I've done a couple where it's right in the center, but I feel like it's because also of this cord cotton that I've used. Anyway, I'm not opposed to it. It is what it is. And Dreamcatchers are just like that. They have a will of their own. I'm pretty much happy with it. And you can sort of also add like some other ornaments there, like random. I have to confess, I took off the camera for a while because I needed to work out the situation. So I put a few things. First I wanted to just put this one and I wanted to put it there, but then I realized it's much better if it's like in the center. So what I did instead is I attached this with cord and I put a bead in there, and then I took ribbon and I covered that so that's neat at the back. And then I took this and I used my copper wire. I added a couple more little dangly beads here, if you can see. I twisted it and I just simply tied a knot to it, just so that, and I did the same for this bead. I put like a bead at the bottom, focus, bead at the bottom and bead at the top, and I just did like a knot, so just it looks really fancy. And so I'm really happy now with my Dreamcatcher head. This bird, I fixed it. It was hanging below before. This is ready. It's done. I don't want to touch it anymore. It's time for me to do the tails. I'm going to do the tails now. So I'm going to measure, just like, I'm going to put it here. The tails are going to be going that way. And I think I'm going to do double. So double that. So double this. And in terms of color, I'll use some of the same. This chocolate. Some green maybe, these three, and a bit of emerald. Maybe, we'll see. We'll go in between. I'll show you. It's like what I have here. I have a ribbon, and then I have a tail, and then a ribbon and tail. It just looks fuller that way. I like to have separators because they tend to knot up in the wind, which is another main reason why I'm choosing to work with a thicker cord rather than this really fine 0.2 or 3 mm string. Example of the tail that I created. And the cord is going to be thicker, and from what I can see, there's only a few type of beads that will go through, so I'm good to use these beads. I will probably use some wood bead in between this one, and I will probably use a lot of the ornaments here, and we'll take it from there.